It's midday right here in Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome to Lunchtime Politics. I'm Jeffrey Uzanga. Let's bring you up to speed with the big happenings in politics and in the polity at midday. Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, recognizes David Marks led NWC of the African Democratic Congress, cites appeal court judgment as basis for decision. ADC reacts. And President Bola Tinubu heads to Jos, the Plateau state capital, today on a condolence visit to the people after gunmen attacked and killed about 28 persons in Ikorodu on Sunday. Our correspondent and our team are in Jos, awaiting the president's visit today because he's set to visit Plateau state. Following that deadly attack that claimed 28 lives and left 22 people injured in Ikorodu in that state. That's just north local government area on Palm Sunday. This visit comes as the state slowly regains calm after tension had gripped the city yesterday. In the wake of the violence, security has been tightened and residents are breathing a sigh of relief as calm returns to the streets. The residents' visit, or the president's visit, I should say, is expected to focus on supporting victims and assessing the security situation. Authorities have urged residents to remain vigilant and optimistic as efforts are on for peace to continue. The president, in his tweet, former Twitter, now X, says, "I will be in Jos to commiserate with the families who lost loved ones and to reaffirm that those who seek to spread fear will not prevail. We will continue to strengthen our security response and ensure peace or justice is done." Let's bring in our correspondent, Dabang, who joins us from Jos, the Plateau state capital. Dabang, thank you so much for coming on the program. I know it's been a busy, literal week for you, and it's a solemn moment for the state. But you can help us tell us where you are and what we should be expecting. The president, when is he supposed to arrive in Jos? Do you have any idea in terms of expectation? The places, the specific places is meant to visit in his itinerary. What exactly do you know? What can you tell us?
Okay, thank you, Jeffrey. We understand that the president will be arriving 1 p.m. That's the information we have. And he will not be visiting anywhere. He will be at the airport. Whatever is going to happen during his visit will happen at the airport. So that is where he is going to. We've already seen the movement of government officials and towards the airport. We're actually driving towards the airport. We have to stop for this. So I think preparations have been made for his arrival, and the state is calm as it is now.
I don't know, we lost connection with you. Okay, go ahead. We lost connection with you for a moment, but if I heard you correctly, it's the condolence visit. So I expect the president to at least maybe visit victims or visit somewhere. So what exactly are you telling us? Is it just going to be at the airport, or you don't have all the details?
Okay, from the information that we have, he is going to be at the airport. He's going to be meeting with government officials and stakeholders at the airport. And this is one of the concerns that some of the people that we spoke with earlier have raised. If he's coming for a condolence visit, one would expect that he will visit maybe Ikorodu, where this thing happened and a lot of people were killed. A lot of people lost their relatives. So that would have been the thing that people expect to see. But as it is, he is going to stop at the airport, have a meeting with government officials, with stakeholders, and traditional rulers, and all that. So that is actually what is going to happen.
All right, Omos, thank you so much. If you have any other updates on the president's visit to just the Plateau state capital, please let us know, because this is new information that is going to just be at the airport. I think the natural thing expected, if it's a condolence visit, he should visit city center, should visit Ikorodu, but we can't make conclusions yet until it comes and goes. Then we can begin to know exactly whether this was a proper visit or not. But We know that the president is going to touch down, according to you, by 1 p.m. today in Jos. Dabang, thank you, and keep safe.
Thank you.
That's our correspondent in Jos, the Plateau State capital. Let's move on now to politics, where the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it will henceforth cease to accept correspondences from both the David Mark-led African Democratic Congress and the Rafiu Bala-led group, following a review of the judgment of the Court of Appeal on March the 12th this year. A statement signed by the Chairman, Information and Voter Education, Mohammed Kadu, also notes that the Commission shall no longer deal with any of the parties nor monitor any meeting, congress, or convention of both groups until the matter at the Federal High Court is decided upon. The Commission also promised to remove names of David Mark from the INEC portal. Mr. Nafiu Bala, who was the vice chairman of the ADC before the David Mark-led caretaker committee took over the affairs of the party, has been in court to challenge the emergence of David Mark and his colleagues at the National Working Committee level. I can tell you for a fact that INEC has stayed true to their word. If you go to INEC portal, where all the political parties are listed, on the part that has ADC, you will see that there's nobody's name and they wrote there by court order. But the ADC is reacting already. Earlier today, we had Senator Dino Milaye, who represented Kogi West Senatorial District. And this is what he had to say in his response to the decision of INEC and the bigger picture of what is playing out in the politics.
The APC have become so desperate. The APC have seen that ADC is the only opposition we have in the Federal Republic of Nigeria to challenge them in 2011. And they've seen exodus of movements of people from various political parties into ADC. And me personally, I'm shocked why they are panicked. You said you have 32 governors, you have taken over then why are you afraid? So, in a nutshell, it is not about ADC. It is about democracy. President Ahmed Bola Tinubu wants to be coronated. He doesn't want election. He just wants to be coronated. He wants us to practice a monarchical system of government, a KBAC mentality, where he will just be coronated. And even from what is said in 2022, 2023, we can see from it that a man who said, it is my turn. No Democrat will tell you it is my turn because it's not a monarchical system of government. It's not a chieftaincy title.
Well, this decision by INEC has been clearly rattling the polity. So let me give you a little background. Hopefully our guest joins us in just a moment. Legal practitioner should be joining us in just a moment. That the NWC, led by Senator David Mark, when the coalition came together and they were looking for a home in terms of political party, they went to the ADC. ADC had a leadership led by Rafa Nwosu. And whatever happened behind the scene, that is the determination of the trial court. So I'm not going to go to that. I'm going to speak exclusively based on the appeal court judgment that is causing all of this back and forth on all sides. So on July, whatever happened behind the scene happened. On July the 29th, the NWC, the NEC, maybe handed over power to the David Mark-led NWC, Ralph Aregbesola, as the National Secretary of the party, July the 29th. You need to take note of the chronology of events here. Now, that caused a lot of problem. You can see gentlemen like Kachuku and the rest of them going to court, and all of that was decided. Now, on the 2nd of September, I remember they came into power 29th of July. On the 2nd of September, Nafiu Gombe, who was the national vice chairman of the party, who says he never resigned. They are saying there's a letter to the effect that he actually resigned in May. In fact, on May the 17th, he said he's never resigned. So that is for the trial court to decide. But he went to court and he's filed an action via originating summons seeking both declarative and ancillary reliefs, challenging the validity or otherwise or legality of the David Mark-led leadership. But that was not all he sought. He also sought two injunctive reliefs as well. One was an ex parte motion seeking an interim injunction Another was another motion seeking an interlocutory injunction based on a motion on notice. Now, all of these were before Justice Emeka Nwite. Well, I understand that the court did not make a pronouncement on the interim injunction, but the interlocutory injunction that was asked to be granted by the court asked the plaintiff to serve or asked them to approach David Mark's group to see why the course of action should not be taken against them. Now, this is just trying to break it down. However, David Mark was not happy, and his group, they went to the appeal court in an interlocutory appeal, which the court actually dismissed. Now, what is interesting in all of this, I'm trying to go away from all the big legalese here, is that the court decided that, go back, you know, the lower court was right, that you should come and show cause where the injunction should not be granted in the first place. But the appeal court also gave consequential orders, and there were 3 of them. The first was, whatever the lower court has decided, abide by it. However, let the lower court expedite or accelerate hearing on this case, because INEC's timeline is already out, and if nothing is done quickly, they will lose out. Second, let's maintain status quo ante bellum. Status quo ante bellum is the big one that is causing all the trouble. And then the third one was, of course, it was awarded, some costs were awarded against David Mark, I think 2 million naira. Now, both sides have written to INEC. Nephew and David Mark have both written to INEC, telling INEC what their understanding of the Court of Appeal consequential order in terms of status quo ante bellum is. Nephew says, do not relate, do not correspond, do not recognize. Literally saying, as far as this is concerned, perhaps maybe there shouldn't be any leadership, because he didn't ask that they should replace him with David Mark. But the David Mark group said, look, status quo ante bellum means that we were already seated, let's continue what we're doing. But INEC said, instead of all of this confusion, they looked at the Court of Appeal judgment, they looked at the letter from David Mark, look at the letter from Nephew, and said, everybody, go to the lower court, sort out yourself. When that is done, come to us, and we'll relate with whoever wins at the lower court. Was the lower court right? So is INEC right? That is the bone of contention right now. I'm trying to summarize as quickly as possible what has been playing out. But let's bring in our guest, who is the expert in this case, a lawyer. He's a law lecturer joining us virtually. Sir, thank you so much for coming on the program. Good afternoon, sir. If you can hear me.
Thanks so much for having me. Thanks so much for having me.
My assumption is that you have been listening and watching and reading all that has been playing out as far as this issue of the ADC and INEC is concerned. Let's get your first impression of the decision of INEC.
Now, to start with, as at this afternoon,
so if you can turn off your device, whatever device is on, we're getting a call back. If you can hear me, sir, my apologies. I think I'm getting a call back. Maybe your television or something is on that is giving us a call back. If you can turn it off, so we can hear you clearly, sir.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. As at this afternoon, you will all realize that we do not have the leadership as far as the ADC is concerned. And their Congress is actually coming up on the 9th of the April, which is just a couple of minutes away. We will all recall that the leadership of the ADC, they all resigned from the party, wanting the new leadership to come on board. As a matter of fact, on the 17th of May, 2025, the entire leadership gave room to let the David Mark-led leadership come on board, as well as Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola. And this has actually been ongoing till 12th of August, 2025, when Nofil Gumbi leadership actually notified the INEC of their resignation. They went to court on the 2nd of September 2025. And as such, the...
Doctor, we will need to take a quick break. And doctor, so that we can sort out that we can barely get a sense of what you're saying because of the network issue. But we'll take a break, and when we come back, I'll take this story, and when we come back, we'll get to sort out your end. Let's tell you that some Ikorodu youths under the United Area Club have intensified its call for the emergence of Ikorodu Indigene as a governor of Lagos State in 2027, declaring that the division deserves equitable representation after decades of political marginalization. Speaking on behalf of the youths, the group in Ikorodu Kingdom, led by Abdulbakar Shotobi, says they are supporting the re-election of President Bola Tinubu, and Ikorodu should be given an opportunity to bring out the next governorship candidates for the state.
Where the people of Ikorodu are being respectively for support in promoting interest of the Ikorodu division by considering candidates of our NDG, Ikorodu, to be governor of Lagos State. Ikorodu is one of the largest and most populous divisions in Lagos State, with a significant contribution to the economic, cultural, and political development of the Lagos State. Therefore, this contribution, the division has not been given the opportunity to produce a governor. Mr. President, once again, granting this opportunity will promote fairness, equity, and inconclusiveness in governance.
You, Ikorodu divisions, we are together. We are asking for our rights. We are giving the second time to Tinubu. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. So, we have been doing it in Ikorodu. We will continue to do it for Bola Tinubu. And all that you are asking me to tell them that this time around, come 2027, it is now the turn. We are not forcing, but we are just asking, give us the chance to deliver to Lagos State. The governor we are asking for is not governor of Ikorodu. We are asking for the governor of Lagos State.
Dr. Akinsola, thank you so much for staying with us. Ikorodu people demanding their own space in the governorship seats. Dr. Akinsola, I hope we can hear you better than we did, and we can make sense of the short time we have.
Yes, I can hear you perfectly now.
Fantastic. So just to summarize and continue, and it's great to see you finally. One of the injunctive reliefs that was sought is a motion on notice on seeking an interlocutory injunction, and the court has said David Mark should show cause why the injunction should not be granted. And now that interlocutory appeal, he headed to the appeal court, and the appeal court dismissed and gave those consequential order. From what you've read, if you've seen the judgment, and now everybody is interpreting it their own way, what do you make of it? Is INEC right? Is INEC cautious? Is INEC taking a side? What do you make out of it in law?
Now, thank you so much. For INEC, I'm of the view that they ought to have acted since March, when they had the notification of that judgment, and not when we are a couple of days away from the ADC Congress. And as a matter of fact, one of the reasons why President Bola Tinubu appointed a professor who is also a senior advocate is for us to have the ability to be able to take precursor measure in order for us not to have the situation that we are currently having. As it were now, if the ADC should go ahead on the 9th of April to have their Congress, we'll discover that neither the Bala leadership, Nofi Ugumbe leadership, nor that of David Mark leadership is recognized. We should not forget that the names of David Mark and that of the governorship has already been published on the INEC portal as the acting chairman as well as the acting national secretary respectively. But now for the INEC coming out at this wee time to the primaries and the Congress of the ADC, it then means that an average Nigerian will begin to be suspicious. I wouldn't know those people actually advising those that are at the aim of affairs of the INEC the people, particularly the electorate, they will be suspicious. We have the gubernatorial election of the Ekiti around the corner. We also have that of Ondo around the corner, and many others. We begin to discover that the ADC, what is their hope? As it were, by that decision and that communique issued by the INEC yesterday, the ADC, they do not have leadership. And if we are saying either the second or the third contender to the ruling party is actually not having leadership, it smacks our political will as a nation below average when you look at it critically. And in all of this, either the political party, the INEC, or the ruling party, they'll begin to look for one fault or the other. Now, the last content of that ancillary relief that was granted by the Court of Appeal was that the appeal, I mean, the action or status could be maintained ante-bellum. As at the time that the Nafi Ugombe went to court, he claimed not to have resigned, but he went to court September 2nd. As at of this time, the INEC eventually published the names of the mark as well as that of the Aregbesola on the INEC portal. So everybody believes that all was actually well. And having said that on the part of the INEC, some fault should also be given to ADC. What they actually thought is no issue, they can deal with it, there's no problem within their party, is actually rearing ugly end within their leadership. Now, assuming without considering that every member of that organ, they had resigned as they claim, way back 17th of May 2025, and they believe that all is well. And Nafi Ugombe has started mentioning that I didn't sign any paper for you, I didn't do anything for you. It builds on them to resolve that issue before they get into court, before lawyers and political parties or political people begin to read meanings into what they are doing. And by and large, the leadership, I mean the ruling party, will lash on any error that is being done by the opposition leader or the opposing political party. By and large, people will begin to read meanings, and I believe that much can still be done by the INEC leadership with what is actually, yes, the court granted that, I mean, there should be an accelerated hearing, but I'm not too sure whether they will be able to do that within 7 days that they have, I mean, towards their election. If the ADC, they are saying they want to go ahead with their Congress, that's going to smack the provisions of the Electoral Act 2026. INEC has to monitor every political party during their congresses and their primaries, because they have to write their own reports. If they don't write these reports, it will not be tenable or accepted by the INEC, who is an unbiased empire. So the leadership of David Marks and and to be able to see how well this is better interpreted.
All right, Doctor, before we begin to wind down, let's even talk about another legal part that I would like your interpretation. I've been reading comments from colleagues of yours, and they are saying that the court, Justice Emeka Nwite, in that interlocutory injunction sought by that motion on notice sought by Nafiu, the court has said they should show cause why the injunction should not be granted. That is a bit problematic for them to have, filed an appeal, interlocutory appeal, on a non-injunctive order in that sense. So was that also an error on the part of David Mark as a lawyer?
Oh, yes, I want to believe that that's a very fatal error. And for the court to have granted a relief that, please show cause, the reason why I should not grant this order. And since they have actually started in all these squabbles, I'm very sure that there's no paper that
What a day. Dr. Kayode Akinsola, I hope we can have you. So sorry, we didn't hear you. If you can land on your thought in 30 seconds, so I can throw in my last question, because I don't know, the network is just not cooperating today.
So I feel that is an error on the part of the ADC for them to be able to show that indeed the Nafi Ugombe signed any paper resigning from that political party. I'm sure that they cannot have that, because what they actually did is to have what I call a general resignation. and each and every one of them signed across their names, which was not actually done by the Nofri Gombe, who was actually the then deputy vice chairman of that political party.
Although they have been, yes, sorry sir, although they've been parading some document actually signed by Nofri Gombe, but that's a subject under adjudication for the trial court to decide. My question to you as we close is, what is status quo antebellum in the context of Senator David Mark took leadership on the 29th. Nofri Gombe filed these originating summons as well as those injunctive relief he sought on the 2nd of September. And the appeal court in March said, return to status quo antebellum so that this is not going to turn to fait accompli. What is antebellum status quo antebellum in this instance?
Now, antebellum simply means everybody go back to the position that you were before this case was actually filed.
And what
when
was
you
that
talk
position?
about antebellum in this circumstance, it was on the September 2nd that Nofri Gombe went to court. So as out of March, when the judgment was actually given, when they said, go back to the status quo antebellum, as out of September 2nd, where was Nofri Gombe? What office was he holding? So these are what everybody can begin to introduce. Because out of that time, I'm not too sure whether INEC has actually published the names of the David Mark and that of the Rauf. So it then means that antebellum in this circumstance will favor Nofri Gombe than that of the ADC.
Interesting days ahead. There's a lot of legalists to play around here, and we'll need interventions like yours. So as we speak now, the only window in terms of the law is to see accelerated hearing as instructed in this consequential order by the Court of Appeal, right?
That is the only thing they can do. That is the only thing they can do at this moment.
Kayode Akinsala is a law lecturer and a senior lawyer. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program. We appreciate. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you, sir. My great pleasure.
And that's it on the program. The networking allows get the full value of that insight by the lawyer. But we must thank you for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.